I'm going to say hashtag Hey Mark. Do you think that the new dual sense with adaptive triggers would have done the trick? To the exact point, people are making it's become a point of contention about the controller, about the joystick-based controller. People are poking fun at it, Mark, and they are. But as I've come to understand that those controllers are more common than you would think, and that even certain military departments will use some of the more common game controllers to control certain things just because they are so user-friendly. Is that right? Do you agree with that?
Without stepping over the bounds of classified information, I will tell you that there are certain assets of the U.S. Navy and other navies that use similar controllers to operate some very complex equipment.
Are you talking about the controllers that I could go pick up at my local Best Buy? I mean, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, so
yeah, because and a comment was made on something that I read earlier today that yes, there's a lot of people, and frankly, audience, please don't take this the wrong way, but there's a lot of people who have no clue what they're talking about, who want to make assumptions about certain pieces of equipment and controllers. And does it look funny right there with Stockton using the Logitech controller to control it? Yes. One of the reasons that he did that, though, was because the amount of time and effort and money and technology that went into developing that controller is something that he didn't have to expend energy on.
Exactly my point.
It was on the shelf and it fit the bill. Just because it hasn't gone through, just because it doesn't look like something from the USS Enterprise doesn't mean. I've flown some vehicles that had a lot less technology than that controller.
So it doesn't look like it belongs in the Millennium Falcon, and all of a sudden people are ready to jump all over it.
Yeah. The general public would be surprised at how simple some of the items on these state-of-the-art exploration vehicles are.
I think people are looking at it and just judging the visual, but could you make the argument, and I think this is what you're alluding to, that if you have this controller that, let's say, you could pick up from your local Best Buy for $35 or less, okay, and it does the job, it does the trick, it does exactly what you need to. It's a dual joystick controller, and it's got the buttons that you need, and you can program it to do whatever you want it to do. Versus if you were to spend, I don't know, 80 grand on a super advanced controller, would you rather have that 80 grand go to a life support system, or would you rather have it go to a fancy controller that no other sub has in the world?
I could think of a lot better places to spend that 80 grand.
Exactly. I think I think that some of the look, there's been a lot of criticisms about the controller, and to Mark's point, I think we're now gaining a better understanding. Various organizations and reports are coming forth about just how common it is to have a basic, fundamental, user-friendly controller be used to control some very complex and complicated systems.
Yeah, there are a lot of criticisms coming out about Ocean Gate, about Stockton, about the Triton, some of which I personally think are justified, some of which are absolutely BS. The controller one is BS. And the fact is that when they made a dive, they carried 3 controllers with them, so that if the one they were using broke, all they had to do was pick up another one and turn it on. And they had a working controller. That's hard to do when you've got, an $80,000 controller. How many spares are you going to have on a vessel that big? None.